Thank you very much, Glenn. So I'll be presenting on the status of biosafety applications, particularly on stock events under the Joint Department Circular. And we're talking here of, under the Joint Department Circular, dear colleagues, there are 3 types of permits that you apply for. So there are 3 types of permits that a technology developer applies for, and hopefully they get this permit on time. And what are these permits? So, what are these permits? So the first permit is the permit for direct use. So it's the applicant goes to BPI, and the BPI checks sufficiency in form and substance. If yes, then the BPI would advise the technology developer to for public comment 60 days. At the same time, the Bureau of Plant Industry, as the single entry window, would farm this out to the different institutions and individuals. As I've been saying always when I discuss the Philippine regulatory system, we're quite unique, unlike in the US or in Japan or in Australia. In the Philippines, we have a 2-pronged system. It's not only the government agencies that evaluate, there's also an external evaluation system being conducted by the scientific and technical review panel, usually from the academe. So this is a 2-pronged evaluation system, internally in government and externally by independent scientists. So once they are given 30 days to evaluate the safety assessment, and each of them have their own level of expertise. For example, the DNR is on environmental safety. The Department of Health is on, let me get this correctly. The Department of Health is on the human aspect of environmental safety. I don't know what animal that is anyway. So for the Bureau of Plant Industry, this is the food safety assessment. Bureau of Animal Industry, that's the feed safety assessment. And as Dr. Merlin mentioned, also mentioned by Ms. Akbagala, we now have this socio-economic consideration. So we have an SEC expert plus the external review being conducted by the independent scientists. So they are given 30 days to evaluate the application of the technology developer. Whatever the evaluation is again submitted to the Bureau of Plant Industry, who shall endorse this to the DA Biosafety Committee, and the DA Biosafety Committee this is a committee under the Office of the Undersecretary for Policy and Planning, is given 10 days to review and make recommendations to the BPI director. So they will be the one to evaluate the consolidated report for endorsement to the Bureau of Plant Industry director, who either approves or denies the application. So all of this, if you add all of this, they are given 85 days. So it's time bound, it should be 85 days. That's the biosafety permit for direct use. Then the biosafety permit for field trial is also 85 days. It's a little bit different because there are less agencies involved because it's just for field trial. But the biosafety permit for commercial propagation, this would involve now a larger set of evaluators because this is the last stage prior commercial release into the environment. But mind you, dear colleagues, all of these are given 85 days. The entire process should be completed within 85 days. So that's the take-home message of the 3 set of slides. 85 days, Charo. But, so far, under the JDC, and, no, he's a very good friend, my dear friend Charo. So far, under the JDC, there are 66 applications for FFP, there are 5 applications for commercial propagation, and there is 1 application for field trial. And of the 66 for FFP, 23 has been granted biosafety permit, and 43 are pending. This is as of December 4, 2018. And for commercial propagation, 3 have been granted permits, and 2 are pending. For field trial, the single application for field trial is still pending. So let's go into details. I've color-coded this one to show you the status of these applications. So the first, as I did mention, there are 23 that have been granted biosafety approval for FFP. So this is for FFP. For FFP, there are 23. The next slide will show the other events that have been granted biosafety approval. That's why it's color-coded green. But unfortunately, the date of application and the date of approval, which is supposed to be 85 days, you will see that that is not the case. So there are even some that were approved after 765 days, for example. So it's quite, and these are the number of days of this application. And dear colleagues, there are 23. So that's why the 23rd row is colored green, because it has been approved. Now we go to the color yellow. So these are pending as of December 4. And you will notice here, so this is the date of application. No approval yet because it's still under evaluation, and it has been running. So for example, this canola event, this cotton event, 742 days and counting. Anyway, the JDC didn't mention single 85 days. It can be 85 days, and another 85 days, and a third 85 days. So 35 to 45, 46 to 57. So these are pending, and 58 to 66. Now, as of December 4, so these were all as of December 4. This number 60 to number 66, this has not yet gone over the 85-day period as of December 4. But we're now January 22, which is last week was the birthday of Dr. Villegas. Happy birthday, Tita Biol. So dear the take-home message here is that because of we do understand our regulator, this is a new system, so and they have become more efficient as the months have come along, but still the JDC timetable for 85 days, we are having a hard time of complying with this time enunciated by the Joint Department Circular. So I mentioned to you were the 66 applications under the food, feed, and processing. For propagation, there are 5 events that were applied, and 3 have already been approved. 1 is still pending, 181 days, and one is still under 85 days as of December 4. So right now, this is now color-coded yellow because we're January 22. And for the field trial of golden rice, this is the only field trial that has been applied under the Joint Department Circular. Unfortunately, instead of the 85 days, it's now 643 days and running. So hopefully, springs eternal. So summary by type of application as of December 4, dear colleagues. There are 3 types of permits. So there are 66 applications for FFP, 5 for propagation, and 1 for field trial. 23 has been granted, while 36 are pending, and these 36 are pending that have elapsed from 85 days. 7 are still within 85 days. But right now, this should be read already. So 43 are pending, 2 are pending for propagation, 1 for pending for golden rice. So, again, a summary of those granted biosafety permits. The average processing of the biosafety permit is 526 days versus the JDC timeline of 85 days. While for propagation, it should be 85 days, but the average is 380 days. These are the permits granted already. But how about the permits still pending? So again, 85 days, 85 days, 85 days. And of those still pending, as of December 4, it's 379 plus, 118 plus, and 643 plus days. So there's really room for improvement in our compliance of the time specifications under the JDC. The main topic of our discussion is FFP application by crop stock events. So where does the stock events come in here, dear colleagues? So this is the main topic of our seminar on stock products. So if we concentrate on the FFP application, how many are singles and how many are stocks? So there are 18 single events that have been applied and 11 stock events for corn that have been applied, for a total of 29 corn events applied for FFP. For soybeans, there are 12 singles that have been applied, 7 breeding stocks that have been applied, for a total of 19 soybean events. And for other crops, there are alfalfa, canola, cotton, and rice. These are for FFP. There are 70 singles, 1 stock. I think this stock is for cotton. So a total of 18 applications for other crops for FFP. Status of application. Look here, dear colleagues. So type of stocking. For the single event, those with the current biosafety permit is 6. Those with pending permit application, and most of these, or if not all of these, are already have elapsed the 85 days requirement. There are 6 pending, so a total of 12 for single. But for double stock, meaning 2 events stacked together conventionally, there are 2 with current biosafety permit, and there are 3 pending, a total of 5. While for triple stocks, A, B, and there is 1, another 1 pending for a total of 2. This is for soybean. How about for cotton? For corn, single, there's 6 plus 12 pending, total of 18. Double, there's 1, plus 3 pending, total 4. Triple, there's 1 pending. Quadruple, there's 1 pending. Quintuple, there's 1 granted, 1 pending, total of 2. And sextuple, there's 3 granted, 0 pending, this should be 3, total of 3. So, I think this is my last slide, and this is an important slide. So, type of stocking, if we consider the 66 FFP applications, there are 14, for single, there are 14 with biosafety permit, but there are 33 pending, for a total of 47. For stocks, there are 9 granted approvals, and there are 10 still pending, total of 19. And mind you, dear colleagues, not only is there a significant number of pending, out of these 9, Ms. Agbagale mentioned that for the stock events, the single should be approved, should have prior approval. Of these 9 events, 5 have component single events that have already expired biosafety permits. So you see the problem. So it's not only that there are significant numbers of biosafety permits that are pending. Now, because of the very difficult approval process and the very long time involved, the original breeding stocks that have been approved, it's a component single events have expired. So, salamat. Thank you, Charles.